What's going on, guys? Chad C, RC back with you. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the bench. It's been a while since we've had one of these fireside chats. And I want to talk about the one thing that I have learned from Mr. Steele and that I think is a good thing for everybody to apply to this whole entire hobby. I mean, actually, I've watched a lot of Steele's videos and everybody else, and I've learned a lot. And he's not the only pilot that says this, but him and Konasty and Trappy and Snake FPV are starting this whole business called ETHIX, which, you know, Steele's whole philosophy is to refine what works. So basically, you take something, you find a formula, it works, and then with ETHIX, they're basically taking it to the next step and kind of making little refinements. And one of the first refinements we've seen on that is the Steele V2 motors and his addition of the Tyrannus, which are great ideas because everybody uses the Tyrannus. We know it works. Free Sky brought out the Horus. We know that it was a complete disaster. So we upgrade our Tyrannuses with things like Crossfire, better gimbals, better switches, things like that. And he's kind of putting that all into an all-in-one package. Same thing with the V2 Steele motors. Now everybody's kind of like up in arms about like, well, it's the same motor, you know, and then they did this weird pants design and everything like that. Well, the motor itself is still a great motor. I mean, even to these days, to this day, a year later, its specs hold up perfectly, I think, against pretty much any motor for a freestyle type of quad. If anything, it was ahead of its time. You know, these V1s, even with their non-pantsless design and everything like that, still came in at 29 grams. And this is a 2306. What are these? 20. And these are a 2306, 2345 kV. So some people are running higher kV, but with that big of a stator, you know, you're good for a lot of the various 5-inch props that are out there now. So if something isn't completely broke, why go back to the wheel and invent it just to keep on repopping things over and over and over? And that's kind of a statement that I kind of bring about because I have definitely been guilty of jumping on the hype train and trying this and trying that. You know, I have 4 quads and all up right now that are running, which is crazy. And all of them are different. You know, I have this Martian with all the Steele stuff and older multi-shot ESCs, Crossfire. I have my 6-inch Konasty frame with 32-bit BL Heli 32 ESCs and T-Motor F80s. And then I have my Reverb that's running the Bardwell flight controller and Multicopter Builder 2207s with Speedix HV 30-amp ESCs. And I have the Flight Club 5.5-inch Proton Skeleton, which is running that same power system and same flight controller. This has a CL Racing F4S, and this has a Betaflight F3 board. So everything requires different tunes. Everything requires almost different props, 5-inch, 6-inch, 5.5-inch. They all have Crossfire, except for the Konasty right now, because I have broken, well, I dropped it. Well, I broke this Crossfire UFL off of it, so I have this antenna soldered on, and it might work. We'll see. I'll wait and see when the snow goes away and see how that works. But, you know, it's just all about finding that formula and just flying and having fun. I have found over the past 3 or 4 months that I have spent so much time watching videos and tuning and all of this stuff that I could have enjoyed that time actually flying instead of just trying to find something that works that I'm happy with. You know, this is my smoothest, best flyer right now. It is also, you know, if you want to say, yeah, it's a clone, it's my junkiest frame. It's got great parts and everything on it though. But it took a lot of it took a lot of work because I was trying to just do my thing and reinvent the wheel. And anybody who's on Facebook or any type of group, even on my YouTube channels, you see the comments. It's like, what about this? What about that? And everything else. So it's like, I applaud and I appreciate the idea that people like himself and other pilots have flown the same aircraft and the same gear for 6, 9, 12 months. And they have worked out a system where they can build 2 or 3 quads that are identical, and they can all go and do the same thing. They can pick this one up, crash it, pick another one up, and go do it, rebuild this one the exact same way, put the same numbers in it, and boom, it's done. Instead of just fooling around and farting around all the time with everything, which is kind of the trap I've gotten myself into. So, you know, my whole goal for this year is to concentrate on finding something that works for me. And you know, this isn't going to probably last much longer because the Betaflight F3 board will probably go out in it soon. The motors are a little crusty, but they still work and they still get smooth video. And I can always replace the bells and everything else on them now with the V2 bells because it's all forwards and backwards compatible. So that's really good. The 6-inch, of course, is what I created as a test rig because 6-inch just doesn't work, period. No matter what anybody says, there's very few people that are able to deliver quality footage time after time after time again, because you just need the appropriate weather conditions, you need the time, you need the assets, and a lot of us just don't have that. So there's just not a formula. So I encourage you guys to check out the one video that Steele did, which is how to build his 5-inch Alien. And then I also encourage you to watch his last 2 videos that he did on his V2 motors and on the transmitter, because it takes a while to sink in, but it really just kind of sinks in as it really hits you hard when you just want to fly, and I want to get some awesome GoPro footage outside of the snow and everything, but I'm too busy dilly-dallying around with these aircraft to try to make them and get them to that point to have good footage when there's already a formula out there to get it. You know, he's built the formula with KISS and everything, and KISS is something I've never tried. You know, I've went the race flight route, I've never went the KISS route, and who knows, in the end, I might end up dissecting parts and pieces off of these and getting rid of it and going with that formula, because I would really like to see how that formula performs and what it actually can do for me. So that's it, guys. Check that stuff out and tell me what you think. You know, I think we need to get locked into something and stay off the hype train, I guess. Later.